If success has ever left you feeling more drained than fulfilled, you are not alone. This is a space for faith-driven leaders who are tired of grinding their way to success only to end up exhausted. An obedient rebel obeys God's laws and breaks their own rules. If that sounds like you, welcome home. Hello, my friend. Welcome to the very first episode of the Obedient Rebel podcast. If success has ever left you feeling more drained than fulfilled, you are not alone. You've worked hard, you've stayed faithful, you've done all the right things, and yet peace still feels far away. This is a space for faith-driven leaders who are tired of grinding their way to success only to end up exhausted. If you've ever thought there has to be more than this, you're in the right place. So what is an obedient rebel? An obedient rebel is one who obeys God's laws and breaks their own rules so that they can easily get to that next level of calm, clarity, and confidence. But what does that actually look like? An obedient rebel is someone who refuses to live by the world's broken model of success. Someone who chooses God's way even when it looks upside down to everyone else. It's the leader who obeys God instead of the grind. It's the woman or man who trades pressure for peace. It's the believer who knows that they were made for overflow, not burnout. If that sounds like you, welcome home. You have found your people. I'm Allyson Chavez, and I am the OG Obedient Rebel in residence. I work with faith-driven leaders, men and women who love God, who love the Lord, who want to create big results and are hustling their way to that next level of success, only to find burnout waiting for them instead. This podcast is for anyone who knows that they were made for overflow, not spreadsheets and survival mode. And here's my intention with this podcast and with this channel. Every episode will be real, practical, powerful, and empowering. You'll leave with one clear takeaway, maybe a simple tool that you can implement right away, and the reminder that obedience and success does not call for self-betrayal. Obedience is actually your power. In every episode, we're going to ask two questions. What are we rebelling against today? And what are we obeying instead? So today, let's start here. We are rebelling against the lie that constant exhaustion is the price of success. And we're obeying presence. Not Christmas presents, not birthday presents, but your own essence, your own presence. Choosing to slow down and align with God, even as the world tells us to speed up. I know what it's like to live and grind. I built a life on hustle. I didn't know anything different, and it almost broke me. Now, if you're new to me and new to my work, I'm very raw, I'm very real, and I'm very vulnerable with you. When I tell you that the hustle and the grind almost broke me, I'm still recovering from that. It broke me physically, it broke me financially, it broke me spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. And I'm still in the process of picking up those pieces. And I'm going to share that with you because I have built big success on hustle, and I've also built big success on presence and peace. And I'll tell you what, the presence and peace is a whole lot more fun, a whole lot more lasting than success built on hustle and pressure and grind. What changed everything and what continues to change everything for me is realizing that, first of all, God never asked me to run myself into the ground. He asked me to trust Him. He asks me to strip myself of all of my jealousies and fears and trust Him. And yet our programming and our conditioning from society, from school, from our childhood, from inherited traits from our ancestors tell us otherwise all the time. That's why obedient rebels obey God's laws but break their rules. Those rules that tell you you can't do that this is the only way it's ever been done, so this is the only way it can be done. It's breaking those rules that keep us limited, that keep us in fear, that keep us silent. We must break those rules. When I stopped obeying the grind and I started obeying God, everything shifted. My finances shifted, my weight shifted, my relationships shifted. But do you know what was the most profound kind of shift I had? Was the internal shifts in myself. Suddenly I could sleep. Suddenly I woke up in peace. I was curious instead of gripping all the time. It was easier for me to observe rather than get all bound up in the outcome or the results that I wanted. It was profound in the way it shifted with me. And then I lost it. My programming took over and things started to fall again. And then I got back into the hustle and got back into the grind and started obeying all of the lack and scarcity talk that we get thrown at us all the time. And that nearly destroyed me. This podcast is the map that I wished I'd had back then. And it's the map that I gladly hand to you, but I'm going to use it myself as I rebuild again. Because here's the thing, I don't have any interest in being your guru. I don't have any interest in being put on a pedestal or being famous or any of those vain, dumb, non-important things. What I am interested in is linking arms with you and creating a movement with you, the obedient rebel movement. I'm in the trenches. And many times when we're in the trenches, we are so close to what's going on that we can't see the forest for the trees. And we think we're all alone and we condemn ourselves and we compare ourselves and we get into competition and all of the lack and scarcity that all of those things create. But when you know that somebody else is in the trench with you, it's not that you're celebrating or gleeful or happy that anybody else is really struggling like you are, but it brings you comfort that you're not alone. And especially when we link arms together in this movement, we become so much more powerful than we could ever be on our own. So what can you expect here? We're going to talk about success without exhaustion. We're going to talk about the lies that you have been told about success, which are causing your exhaustion. We're going to talk about peace that actually delivers results. We're going to talk about money and power and presence that flow from obedience to God's laws, not striving within your own programming and conditioning. And you're going to hear real stories, case studies, my own personal experience, client stories, simple tools and practices that you can put to work right away. But let me assure you of this. This is not another self-help podcast. I'm not going to give you self-help checklists for you to mark off and cross off and get dopamine hits all day long. This is much deeper than that. It's a whole new way of being. It's the obedient rebel way. Now, I want to give you something simple that you can use today. I like to call it the 3-breath reset. Our nervous systems are fried right now, and we get lots of complicated breath work patterns that are effective. But in my own personal experience using complicated breath work patterns, my mind gets in there, and it's so hard. It's so hard for me to do. One of my very best friends on this planet is breathwork certified, and she's amazing at what she does. And I'm like, I can't do a breathwork session, but I can take 3 deep breaths in and 3 deep breaths out, or deep breaths in and exhales, and you know that's just as effective in resetting your nervous system. We have got to get out of our sympathetic nervous system, get into our parasympathetic, so that we can have that calm that we are all desperately craving. It brings us clarity, and it brings us an extra level of confidence as we are stepping into this new version of ourselves and rewriting the rules of success. So 3-breath reset goes like this. You're going to take 1 deep breath in, and as you exhale, just let your shoulders drop. Then you're going to take another deep breath in. This time on the exhale, I want you to let your jaw and your chest soften, and let that breath all the way out. 3rd breath in. As you let go, just ask yourself, am I moving from grind or from God? That's it. 3 breaths, 1 question. This is a reset that will bring you back to peace and power in less than a minute. But for those of you who are already panicked that you know you're moving from grind and not from God, now what do? You don't do anything except take another breath in and breathe in God and breathe out grind. This is a simple instruction to your brain. You're breathing in God. You're breathing out grind. And that instruction is, this is what I choose. One more time, you're breathing in God. And you're breathing out grind. If success has left you feeling exhausted, it's because not only have you been told a lie about what success really is, but it's because you've been following the wrong version of it. And that's why I created the Obedient Rebel Way. It's a free resource to help you trade the grind for God and take your peace back in just a few minutes. Think of it as your first step into a different kind of success, one that restores instead of drains. I want you to go to theobedientrebel.com/way. The link is in the show notes, or click on the QR code, scan the QR code, and you can get instant access to it. Again, that's theobedientrebel.com/way, or scan the QR code on your screen. This is my gift to you. My friends, sacrifice does have its place. It's actually one of the universal laws that we'll talk about in a later episode that helps us to align to God and align to the Lord. It does have its place. Endurance also has its place. And sometimes exhaustion is even holy when it's born of obedience. We do have seasons that are fuller than others, and that's okay. But somewhere along the way, the world twisted these truths. It turned sacrifice into self-betrayal. It turned exhaustion into a lifestyle. It told you that constant pressure was the price of success. That's the lie we're rebelling against. Because you're not broken. The model is. The Obedient Rebel movement exists to prove what the world got wrong. First, that obedience is not self-betrayal, it's overflow. Second, that peace is not passive, it is power. And third, that peace produces more than pressure ever will. By 2030, we will redefine success for 1 million faith-driven leaders worldwide. And together, we will prove that obedience is synonymous with overflow, not survival. Because this is not just a podcast. This is a movement. It's a revolution. And it starts with you. If this episode spoke to you, here's how you can be part of the Obedient Rebel movement. Subscribe so you never miss an episode. Rate and review the show. It helps more leaders find this message. And share this with a friend who's ready to trade the grind for God. Our goal is to reach 10,000 subscribers in the next 3 months. Not just for numbers, but because every subscription is one more voice proving the world's model wrong. So hit subscribe, leave a review, and share. Because burnout is not holy, and running yourself ragged isn't winning. Here on the Obedient Rebel podcast, we're proving that success can feel like peace, presence, and overflow. So the next time you hear the grind calling, pause and ask, am I moving from grind or from God? That's how an obedient rebel rises. Until next time, keep your peace close, your obedience strong, and your rebellion holy.